Hello everyone, welcome to qualifying. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here for the next couple of minutes. I'll be as quick as I can and I will be right back. But enjoy the watch along for now, as we've got all the details on the screen for you, of course. It is the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix qualifying. Alright, and we're going to be back for the last couple of minutes. We've just had Alonso almost get in the way of the Alpine of Jeddah, who is in P13 at risk of being knocked out. If I'm honest with you, at the moment, we've got Hadjar coming around the final few corners and up to the line. It's Lawson as well. Hadjar to P10 for now. Lawson, what can they do? P17 at the moment, and they're coming into the final few corners. Turns, well, 27 is the next one coming up. They have a little bit of a tow of the car ahead, but not really too much. They pass them. DRS will be available. They keep it nice and close to the entry on the inside, but on the exit they've got a massive snap of oversteer across the line. What's it going to be for Liam Lawson? It's into Q2. Is anyone else going to be able to come back at this? Doohan is currently at risk of being dropped out as they've already set their lap time. We've got Gasly and Behrman improving. Jack Doohan is not in a good position at the moment. And Gasly is so close to the wall on the exit, drifting through turn 27, and it's going to be a P9 into Q1 to knock out their teammate Behrman to P10 with that Haas, doing an absolutely phenomenal job. Hamilton is improving. They're trying to get themselves out of the qualifying drop zone, and it currently looks like they can get the job done, with Doohan setting their lap already. But looking at the rest of the pack, who's going to be coming across the line over the next few moments? We've got Antonelli, we've got Alonso into the pit lane, Doohan will be coming into the pit lane, Hadjar as well. Antonelli enters that lane. It's Hamilton who we're watching on to see what they can do. Currently P15. And I think they could be good to go. Hamilton has done enough. They go P9 anyway. Hadjar should be safe as well. The cars behind aren't improving, and it will be qualifying done. It's going to be Lance Stroll, Jack Doohan, Nico Hülkenberg, Esteban Ocon, and Gabriel Bortoleto in P20. And Bortoleto having a massive issue in the entry to turn 1. They had a big slipstream into the first corner, just carried a bit too much speed, and then round they went as they entered the apex of turn 1 and then got into turn 2. Max Verstappen moves out the way. A massive shame there for Gabriel Bortoleto, who has got so much potential but just doesn't seem to be able to make it work too well. 6 tenths behind their teammate in the end as well. Hülkenberg 1 second off our current top sitter, Max Verstappen, who's managed to find it quite nicely after struggling for a little bit. Sonoda P5, 4 tenths away from his teammate in the first part of qualifying. Not too bad, considering what we've seen before from Verstappen's teammates, and also now we see Yuki trying to get to grips. How will it go when everything gets to the limit in Q3? That's the question. Q2 will be coming up. That is Ocon. Once again, more issues. Really unfortunate for the other Haas driver, but Behrman has managed to get their qualifying together this time after starting P20 in Bahrain. Now Saudi, it's going to be 19th for Esteban Ocon, and both of those cars finished in the points in the end. So it's not a bad car, and they can definitely make some progress. It's a bit of a downer, but they'll be good to go. Right, we will wait for Q2 to start, and we'll be back. That's not a bad prediction from you there, Samaxon. As Verstappen runs over the curbs and is radioing in to tell everyone what he's just done. Now, what I will challenge with your prediction there, Samaxon, is that Albon is already out with 5 minutes to go. Would they get 2 laps or not, I don't know. But they're definitely going to miss out on a bit of track evolution. They will be able to benefit from a really nice clear track, so that's the good thing. But it can be incredibly complicated, I am sure. So currently, Albon, the only one out on track. And coming into turn 13, I think. I may have got that wrong. I don't see the same screen as you guys. Alright, Albon improving in the first sector, looking to try and get themselves into Q3 that they missed out on last time around. They missed out on Q2 because of an incorrect timing from Nico Hülkenberg. They deleted his lap time after Q2, but by that time it was too late and Albon missed out. So really trying to make it work and have a bit of a better time this time around in Saudi Arabia. Across the line, it's going to be a P6, and that is likely to be Albon's qualifying done. That being said, if they fueled that car up enough, they might be able to go again. Not improving in that final sector though, a little bit more time to find. 6/10 away from Lando Norris's current top time, but not too far away from Charles Leclerc. It's a good lap. Is it going to be enough? Currently 2/10 in it for Albon himself and his teammate. So his teammate's going to be going again and ready to set an even quicker lap time. I believe, was it said that the bottom 5, including Albon, when they hadn't set that lap time, actually had set their initial runs on scrub soft tyres. So all of those cars in the bottom 5 are going to be expected to go quicker. Will the Haas go quicker than the Williams? In my opinion, it's 50-50 right now. Would the Aston Martin go quicker than the Williams? I'm not entirely convinced. Will the Racing Bulls go quicker than the Williams? I think more likely the Haas is able to, so I think Behrman has a good chance of getting ahead of Albon. And if Sainz can try and beat his teammates' time for the second weekend in a row, that would be very impressive. It's a shame that it didn't work out for Carlos in the Grand Prix in Bahrain. Still trying to get a race result better than his teammate for the first time this year. And lots of cars out on track now, ready to go. Everyone that's set from Norris is currently out. We're waiting for Norris to leave the pit lane. That being said, maybe they're confident enough and they're not going to go out again, as they are the top of the times, of course. And we see Kimi Antonelli currently P10, looking to try and have a bit of a better weekend as they struggled back in Bahrain, and they also, I believe, struggled in practice. I'm going to check my notes for that and see if they did have any issues in practice so far. Seems to be struggling. Yeah, down a bit in the practice session so far. They've managed to get themselves nicely into this qualifying session, so they're good to go, but they still have a bit of pressure, of course, on themselves to get the job done. We've got Everyone's starting their laps. It's set from Lando Norris. Lando Norris will be sat in the pit lane and they will not go again. Confident with their time. Piastri not so much so, with 2/10 behind. Other than maybe they're just trying to guarantee their place in Q3, whereas Norris seems to have the confidence to be able to stay in and have a better time in the running for Q3, have a bit more opportunity. It's Antonelli across the line to P5 ahead of Alex Albon, who's already set their lap time and is in the pit lane. So it will be 2 cars done in qualifying already. It's Carlos Sainz, the teammate, looking to try and go quicker. It's Oscar Piastri up to P3 to get much closer to his teammate. And Verstappen, it's Carlos ahead of Alex. Is that going to be a dangerous position for the Thai driver? Currently P8 and nothing that they can do about it. We've got Gasly improving. We've got Hadjar and Lawson improving. We don't have Behrman improving, and I believe unless they can get something done now, it might be all over for them. Liam Lawson and Isaac Hadjar will be crossing the line. It's Hadjar across the line first. It's P11 and it will not be. Q3 for the Frenchman. Liam Lawson comes across the line as well to try and beat their teammate, and they do so, and they push out Hamilton temporarily. Is that going to be enough to get them into Q3? I'm not entirely convinced. They've got a lot of cars behind them improving quite nicely. It's Gasly, Hamilton, and it's Hamilton who's P11 at the moment. There he is, P8 it goes, nicely into the qualifying session. It's Tsunoda who's got a bit of pressure now. It's Gasly across the line who gets themselves into the third part of qualifying for now. It's Tsunoda who has to push out Alex Albon in order to get themselves into Q3. It's Fernando Alonso who's going green. Will they go green again? They do so, but it's P13. It's gonna be a little bit of a disappointment. They'll be ahead of Hadjar in the end. It's going to be Tsunoda who does get to P7, and Alex Albon, by the tiniest of margins, has been knocked out. Maybe that wasn't the right call to go that early. They gave it a shot, and that's how close they are. That is qualifying done. I don't believe Behrman will be going again. It is all over. Hamilton just about gets it together and gets it in. Tsunoda finds a lap towards the end to be still 4.5 tenths away from their teammate effectively. It's Albon, Lawson, Alonso, Hadjar and Behrman in P15. Maybe the Haas isn't as quick as we thought it would be. My prediction was before Albon hit the wall in Q1 quite hard, and that seems trying to check damage and get the best result they can. I see. I didn't actually see them hit the wall in Q1 because I wasn't watching the first part. So that's a big issue for Albon. That would explain it. So in that case, it's a very good effort to do what they have done. 6 tenths from Norris to Hamilton, and Norris didn't set a final lap time. They stayed in the pit lane. Now we go into the pit lane and we get ready to go for this final session in qualifying. Where it all matters. Alrighty, who's going to be in it for pole position? Currently the votes say 100% on Lando Norris. 4 votes saying that one. It's Leclerc not getting any votes, Russell not getting any votes, and Piastri not getting any votes. In my opinion, I was going to say it would be Oscar Piastri, but I guess not. I guess it will not be. Alright, the top three for now: Norris, Verstappen, Piastri, Russell, Antonelli, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Sainz, Gasly, and Hamilton. That's not the top three, that's the top 10. But a 27.481 is the time. Let's double check what it was last year in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix qualifying session. It was for Q2 a 28.0, I think. So we've come a long way. Qualifying 3 for the pole position, it was Max Verstappen with 27.472, and we have almost beat that. We will definitely beat that in the third part of qualifying, where everybody goes to the absolute maximum. I say will definitely. We did actually get in Bahrain last year Charles Leclerc go quicker than Verstappen in Q2 than Verstappen's pole time in Q3. So it's not impossible that we don't actually go quicker than the Q2 time, but it's very, very likely, especially considering the fact that the fastest man on track in Q2 didn't set another lap time and would have had a very good chance of improving once more. (27.489) was the fastest time in FP3, and that was the fastest out of all the practice sessions, and we've just beaten that lap time as well, only just. So there you go, Lando Norris gets the job done. Now, last time around, Lando Norris qualified P6, currently with good momentum in that car. Verstappen as well, phenomenal momentum. They qualified P7, so could we see the drivers that were close together on the grid in Bahrain now potentially following each other up to the top? It's very, very likely, considering what we're seeing on our screens. But Oscar Piastri, I really was expecting them to be a bit more of a clear-cut pace setter after the last couple of Grand Prix, effectively. But it doesn't seem that way, and Lando Norris has responded well to the woes in Bahrain. We'll see what they can do. Russell and Antonelli close together position-wise, of course, so they are managing to match one another fairly closely. Russell getting the edge with the more experienced side, and Antonelli is really doing quite well. Up and down sometimes, but still doing quite well. It's Carlos Sainz who once again finds themselves into Q3. It's once again Alex Albon being knocked out of the next session by one position. So hopefully, for his sake, no one gets a lap time deleted after the qualifying session is done, because that would be incredibly frustrating. Gasly again finding themselves into Q3. Phenomenal stuff. Really destroying for Jack Doohan, because Doohan's down in P17, missing out on to Q2. So 2 qualifying sessions apart. Absolutely incredible stuff from Gasly, performing like an absolute madman at the moment. We've got 2 McLarens, 2 Mercedes, 2 Red Bulls, 2 Ferraris, a Williams and an Alpine. Very, very even. Good to see the 2 Red Bulls once again close together, as we saw Yuki Tsunoda race that Red Bull in Japan, of course, for the first time. My prediction, I would change Albon for Hamilton and move Antonelli 1 place up. Let's see. I would agree. I would agree with that. But I really thought originally that Piastri would have had the upper hand, but it doesn't seem to be the case. It's very possible, yep. Verstappen could do that. Could do an absolute masterclass of a strategy, or strategy, a lap. Yeah, I think McLaren are just very good with managing the tyres, and when the track is hit by the sun, it makes it incredibly complicated for everyone else to compete. Now, what will we see here? Will we see Oscar Piastri take 2 in a row? Will we see Norris get one back? Will we see Verstappen get 2 this season? Will we see one of the Mercedes drivers go for their first pole times? Will we see Leclerc, who seems to be a qualifying king, go for the top spot? 10 minutes on the clock. And the cars are all out at the moment. It will be Oscar Piastri to set the first lap time of the session, followed by the 2 Mercedes, followed by Carlos Sainz. And then Leclerc at the moment, but it looks like maybe there could be a switch up if Norris decides to go for the overtake on the Ferrari driver. Oscar Piastri, though, is going through into the first few corners. Very close to the walls. Bit sloppy on the curb on the entry to 5. And that's really going to cost him. Meant that he couldn't get the steering down because the front tyres were effectively lifted off the track. That's the nature of the curbs that here in Jeddah. Purple first sector, though, utilising this track, utilising the evolution. But definitely not the way they wanted to start the lap, despite going faster than Russell, who's only green in that first sector. Still not over for the Mercedes driver, but incredibly complicated and difficult to actually compete with these mighty McLarens right here in the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Another purple sector there for Oscar Piastri. And George Russell, unfortunately, hitting the floor on a curb, I guess, but still going purple in the middle sector over Oscar Piastri. Oscar, currently P2. What's it going to be for the first lap here in qualifying for the Australian driver? It's P1. Of course, it's a crash. It's Lando Norris into the wall. I do not believe it. I do not believe it. And Lando Norris will not get a qualifying lap. And now, as long as everybody sets a qualifying lap time here in Jeddah, Lando Norris will start the Grand Prix in P10. It's a red flag. Everyone will have to go into the pit lane. It's Lando who exits the first few corners. And they'll go into turn 4. Very wide into 5. And a similar issue that Piastri had, but instead of running over the curb, they pull it to the left, but they actually do bounce over the curb as they pull it left, and they just didn't have any grip. A big correction into the wall, front wheels are gone. And a big twitch. And then that was it. And that left wheel just hit the wall. It seemed fine and then just bounced off. Incredibly frustrating for Lando Norris, and once again Oscar could be having the advantage. And they're going to be hoping that there's no internal issues for that McLaren car, but that McLaren will need the repairs ready for tomorrow's Grand Prix. Now, the benefit that Lando has here over Bahrain and their qualifying woes there is that you've got such a volatile circuit, such a dramatic circuit, that a safety car can definitely come out and affect things much more than other circuits, I think. Maybe even multiple safety cars. So, you know, Lando might be safe here. He might be okay. He might be able to get a bit of a kind of a softer hit compared to Bahrain. Even though he made it back to P2, or to fight for P2, didn't make it in the end. I think that it could be potentially an easier opportunity for Norris to really get to that P2 spot a bit earlier on, and maybe if the strategy works out could maybe compete with Piastri. It really depends on Oscar's race pace, and we'll only be able to find out tomorrow, and we'll have to see what Lando can do off the race start. If they can repeat what they did in Bahrain, even though they had the jump start, the start was actually still pretty good regardless, so you have to try and give them credit for that. And if they can replicate a decent start and spot their way through the order and give themselves a jump, they might be okay. But to go from P10 to P3, that's incredibly difficult. P6 to P3 sounds a little bit more reasonable, doesn't it? So we see virtually the same mistake from both Lando and Oscar, but the exit, or after they left the curb, it just ended up slightly differently. And Piastri did get their lap time done, which is good news for them. Now, looking at the rest of the grid, you've got 8.5 minutes on the clock. You've got enough time to do 2 really quick laps with like not much of a prep lap to begin with, and a really quick cooldown lap. Are we going to see drivers do a prep lap and a cooldown lap, or are we going to see are we going to see them go for 2 quick laps? Or are we going to see a long prep lap and just 1 final lap at the end? Could we see another kind of situation as what we got in, I think it was Bahrain, it was Q2, right? There was a crash from Ocon, or did they crash in Q3? I'm not entirely sure. But we had a very, very short period that we could actually get laps done, and basically everybody had 1 lap. The option is to, of course, run a bit more fuel in the car, and you can go for 2 laps, but there is obviously disadvantages by doing that. Bahrain, and now they might also get a penalty if the gearbox was damaged, and they need to change it. Looking at the way they crashed that car, I can't really imagine that they would need to take a penalty for a gearbox, but you never know. You never know with an impact. Will that mean he'll start in 10th? It's likely, very, very likely that they will start in 10th. Not impossible that they'll start further up. Now, of course, if other cars don't set lap times, then because of their Q2 time, that means Lando would end up finishing the qualifying session ahead of them. If there's a disqualification, of course they'll start higher. If there's a grid penalty, of course Lando will start higher. It's not a definite 10th, but it's a very likely 10th position for Lando. That's what we'll be looking at. And from P6 last weekend to now, P10, that would be a massive drop. It's not impossible for Lando to get a few positions if he's very, very lucky, but it's incredibly unlikely to have all that I mentioned occur. And I think, I mean, we'll see. We could see some lap times get deleted. We've got a green flag and we'll be resuming in about a minute's time. We could see a few cars get their laps deleted. We could see a few cars collide with the wall at the very end of the session, of course, and that would be incredibly frustrating for a few drivers. But with the lack of time that we've got in this session, it's not impossible to get the pressure on and make those mistakes. It looks like with the cars lining up in the pit lane, we're probably going to get multiple run attempts from most of the teams here. I don't think we'll see many drivers staying in and not going for less than 2 runs. There we are. We're ready to go qualifying. Now, Oscar Piastri has got everything in their hands at this point. They are the lead McLaren. They have a lap time done in qualifying. And I think they're going to go, you know what, I can afford to wait. I can afford to make sure that I'm not stressed. I'm relaxed. I'm ready to go for my final run. And I can have really nice fresh tyres. And I don't have a worry in the world at all. That's what we're going to probably see from Piastri, I'd assume. Not impossible that it could go a different way, but we'll see. We've got Carlos Sainz sat on track. Alrighty. Carlos Sainz enters the first few corners. Gasly crosses the line to start their lap, and Verstappen will go across the line. We're not going to get any other cars out on track right now, so they are going for their final runs. They're waiting. But these cars, I assume, will be trying to get multiple laps done in this session. 6 minutes on the clock. It's going to be tight, but they're trying to give themselves a bit more leeway, a bit more room to just kind of get the laps in and run themselves into the session. It really depends on who you are. It depends on if you're someone that likes to drive and get the experience to prepare. It depends if you're someone that likes to relax and wait. It also depends if you're Oscar Piastri, who's already got a lap in and doesn't need to worry too much, and they can keep incredibly cool. But also, we see Max Verstappen going purple. So we haven't had a few cars run out on track for a while, of course, because of that red flag. So a hell of a gap that we had to wait for. I say that was only a couple of minutes. And it means that the track does cool down a little bit, and that can change the conditions, but currently it doesn't really seem to be affecting, well, it didn't affect Max Verstappen in the first sector. In the second sector, only green, so a little bit down on Oscar's time, and would not be looking to go quicker. It's Carlos Sainz who has a terrible first sector and ends up in P2, but are way off Oscar Piastri's time. It's Verstappen across the line. It's going to be provisional pole position from Max Verstappen by the smallest of margins. Absolutely incredible. Will that stand? Oscar's ready to go. Oscar's ready to make something happen. We saw Gasly go into the pit lane, and now I'm really wondering if Carlos and Verstappen will actually get an opportunity to go again. Gasly has gone straight into the pit lane, and they're going to be coming out for one final attempt with the track at its peak performance. Well, at least as best as it's going to get. It's Max Verstappen, however, who's got this lap done now. Clean track, clear view ahead, and just about pipped Oscar Piastri. If Oscar Piastri makes a mistake, doesn't improve, invalidates the lap, crashes, Max Verstappen is very likely to be on pole position. Maybe one of the Mercedes can beat Verstappen to pole. Maybe Russell can do it, but I don't think it's going to happen at this stage. Verstappen's been flying around Jeddah. He's flown around Jeddah before, and he'll do it again. Complaining about turn 1 grip, and that's expected when you've had a few minutes of no running out on track. But we see the cars all beginning their final laps, or getting ready to go. Verstappen and Sainz into the pit lane. They've got 3 minutes on the clock. They do have time to go once again. You've got Verstappen following very closely the back of that Williams to try and to maximise everything. And they're going for a pit stop, straightforward pit stop. No stress, no need to really push it, but a very, very quick stop. And they will be going out again in this session. It's Carlos Sainz doing exactly the same thing, allowing Verstappen to go through. So they will have an easy time of going in and out, and they will get another run in. It just seems that Gasly really didn't want to worry about it, maybe not having the best lap. And Carlos Sainz still completed the lap, even if it was 1.5 seconds slower than Max Verstappen's lap time and Oscar Piastri's lap time. Russell begins their final run of qualifying, begins everybody's final run in qualifying over the sector line. What's it going to be for George Russell? Purple, 1.5 tenths, looking like it's going to be an improvement over the rest of the field. This could be an absolute belter. Who's going to get it? I really don't know. I thought it was going to be clear cut. Piastri, of course, has set their first lap on their first run, and they get one more opportunity to go again. They do have the upper hand, even if they're in P2 at the moment. But George Russell goes very quick, still faster out on track right now. Only yellow in that middle sector, but still a quick one, and they are currently looking to try and go provisional pole if they can make it work. One more corner to go. DRS will be across the line, and they've just got to pin it. Oh, so close to the wall on the exit. DRS is available. George Russell, where will they end up? It's going to be P1. It's going to be P1 by 1.5 tenths. It's Antonelli to P4, who's half a second almost away from their teammate. That's qualifying done. Piastri goes through the first sector. What's it going to be for Oscar? It's up right now, and purple in the first sector, looking to try and steal it back from the Brit. And it's getting very spicy. It's Russell done in qualifying. It's Max Verstappen who's not improving but ready to start their final run in the session. It's Tsunoda who is P5. That looks like it's going to be their final opportunity. And currently Piastri's down on George Russell. Currently Piastri is half a tenth away and not looking like they'll be improving. Verstappen is almost 2 tenths up on George Russell's time and going quicker again. And it's going to be Verstappen who's hunting their second pole this season in a car that really shouldn't be doing what it's doing. Oscar Piastri up to the line to finish qualifying in Saudi Arabia. It's going to be P1. It's going to be P1 by a tenth. A purple final sector, mighty for them. But it's Max Verstappen who's still half a tenth up on the current pole time. That is Oscar Piastri's new time. I think it's going to be Max's way once again. He did it in Suzuka. We go to another circuit that starts with an S, and Saudi Arabia looks like it's going to be his. Around the final corner, half a tenth up going into Sector 3 as we leave Sector 3 and complete the lap. What's it going to be? Max Verstappen is on pole position for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Wow, incredible margins, and he's done it. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. It's Oscar Piastri, P2, and it's George Russell will not be able to get there. Carlos Sainz gets another lap in and jumps to P6. And after all of that, it looks like it's confirmed. Lando Norris, P10. They will be starting the Grand Prix really far behind their teammate and behind their championship rival, Max Verstappen, on top. Qualifying is done. Charles Leclerc to P4, driving phenomenally in that Ferrari. Antonelli P5, little way from his teammate. It's Carlos Sainz who's got that Williams to P6 ahead of Hamilton and Tsunoda. Tsunoda struggling a little bit in the 9 tenths away from their teammate. Once again, almost a second away from their teammate. This time, their teammate isn't P7. Their teammate has ended up in P1. Wow. Wow. Now, that is very, very impressive. Oscar Piastri has not got an easy day tomorrow. At all. At all. That is going to be an incredibly complicated drive that they've got to deal with. I don't know what to say, to be honest. I don't know what to say, but Max Verstappen could be on track to get their second win this season. Quite simply. It's going to be not so easy, but with an interesting defence, he may be able to hold on to it and convert. He may be able to get the job done. That is qualifying finished. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Enjoy the race tomorrow. We'll see Oscar Piastri, maybe even George Russell, or Max Verstappen go for pole, or go for the win, sorry. Again, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you next time. Enjoy tomorrow. Bye-bye.